All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about SalesLogix Mobile. Just before we get started, a little overview of the webinar itself. On the right hand side of your screen, if you're having any trouble hearing or any other issues with the webinar itself, press the raise hand button and I'll help you out. Otherwise, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to submit them in the questions box on the right-hand side, and we'll either respond to you via the webinar or we'll take your questions out loud at the end. Without any further ado, I'm going to pass to our first presenter today, Tony Berry.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. So hopefully everybody is hearing okay, and appreciate everybody joining on Halloween. So we're here, as Matt mentioned, to talk about SalesLogix Mobile. And what I thought I'd do is I'll introduce who the presenters will be. So one, this is Tony Berry. I'm a managing director at Infinity Info Systems. And we're quite excited to have several folks from the SwiftPage team with us today. So we've got Kevin Myers, who's the Chief Marketing Officer. We've got Ed and Karen. So Ed's the Senior Sales Engineer, and Karen is the National Sales Manager. So we've got the full team from SwiftPage here to both show what they're doing from a mobile standpoint, what they're using with SalesLogix Mobile, and then answer any questions that anybody has. And at the end, we'll have contact information, as Matt mentioned. We'll also be taking questions. So again, really appreciate everybody joining. What I thought I'd do first is I'm just going to do a real quick update on kind of what's going on in the market. And I think we probably all experience this as we look at I bet every one of us has a smartphone in hand right now. But what's really happening out there in the world, and this is a recent study from a company called ComScore. It was actually provisioned by Morgan Stanley as they were looking at the market. And what they're seeing is that in 2014, and this may actually be accelerating a little bit, that the mobile application market will actually overtake desktop. And so what that means is that application design, the user's propensity in terms of where they're going to actually uptake an application is going to be off their mobile device first, with the desktop kind of being a secondary use. And we probably all feel that today in terms of when we need to work and communicate from everywhere. So everyone is connected pretty much everywhere all the time. And so it's really important that the platform that we're using from a CRM standpoint and an enablement standpoint really supports this change in the way our users are going to be accessing their application. So I'm really excited to have the team from SwiftPage kind of go through their new mobile release, SalesLogix Mobile 3. They're also going to talk a little bit about what they're doing as an organization and how important this industry trend is for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn control over to Kevin Myers, the Chief Marketing Officer at SwiftPage. So Kevin, I'll let you kind of run from here if you don't mind.
Thanks a lot, Tony, and we're delighted to be presenting with Infinity and in some cases kind of really unveiling the new SwiftPage and the proud owners of ACT and SalesLogix. And for those folks that aren't familiar with the heritage and the legacy, we've been doing this for 25 years and invented the industry with ACT and perfected it for the enterprise with SalesLogix in '98. In 2001, SwiftPage was founded, and they found their way within the Sage family to bring e-marketing into both ACT and SalesLogix. And so when the opportunity became available to combine those brands, the e-marketing platform from SwiftPage and ACT and SalesLogix, Bob Ogden and John Oshel, who are the founders and CEOs of SwiftPage, acted quickly, pun intended. And so this past year we acquired both brands. And Tony, if you go to the next slide, it's really kind of most important that not only are we a marketing and CRM company on our own, at our own direction, building upon great brands and great product, but as you see on the right there, Sage is still a partial owner in this. So this was not, taking products and putting them out to pasture. This was finding people that were going to instill the growth engine, the focus that marketing drives sales into both products. And not only is Sage an owner in this endeavor, but Excel KKR, one of the largest private equity firms in the country, Jump Capital and Silicon Valley Bank are behind this effort. So this really is just meant to say that that the new ACT, the next version of SalesLogix, and the company SwiftPage are here for the long run. Next. not only are we here for the long run, but we've got kind of an impressive portfolio. You know, we have the privilege of, you know, even if you listen to some of the analysts, they talk about both ACT as having still the largest user base in the world, and SalesLogix having a very impressive enterprise customer base. Here you see some of the great brands that we've got, and if you really go to the next one, I'm going to highlight a couple of the implementations that we have, because it really speaks to what is SalesLogix doing and have done in the market that's special and unique. Analysts, a few of them are tracking kind of who are the players that are in Magic Quadrants and those that are getting the attention probably daily. But what I really want to bring people's attention to is the time where they look at the implementation and who has the best implementations. I want to highlight that Gartner for the past 2 years has awarded SalesLogix for the best sales effectiveness and mobile implementation. And that's through Harry Rosen, a retailer in Canada, and AgReliant, a very large company that works with farmers across the country. And it was because of what we did in a mobile fashion, and it was because of the legacy and heritage of SalesLogix having a platform to really develop applications for the users and hopefully give them what they need in 1, 2, or 3 clicks. And so whether or not it's somebody coming into a retail store and within a click understanding their personal interest and the styles and designs they want, or whether it's being in a farm anywhere in the country and sending a picture of an appropriate crop and having the right fertilizer and seed, it's that simplicity that we've been very fortunate to be awarded for. And I think most fortunate, our customers, through that simplicity, through mobility, have really driven, in these 2 cases, 100% user adoption. So as we talk about mobile, we have a new mobile interface. We're going to be focused on mobile. But I would argue that we've always been focused on mobile. And SalesLogix was invented for the mobile workforce. The technology was different. We used sync and laptops in the early days. But as you'll see now, and when I pass the baton to Ed, on any mobile device, that same thing holds true. We call it purpose-driven, and we want to make sure that our customers are taking just the 1, 2, or 3 things that the end user needs and do them effectively every day. So beyond these awards, next up. This is just kind of a little bio of the SwiftPage entity. We are 300+ employees worldwide. We have thousands of partners worldwide. The companies that we are fortunate to call customers, both ACT and SalesLogix, are tens of thousands of companies and millions of users. And from SwiftPage, you're going to hear ACT and SalesLogix said in the same sentence, in the same descriptors, because it's where the industry was started, it's where simplicity was born, and it's where we're going to kind of re-grab that brass ring and make sure everybody understands that the great brands that we started with will really find their way to great mobile experiences going forward. And I must say, there's a lot to learn from the simplicity of ACT into SalesLogix going forward, and ACT is going to have the benefit of really great infrastructure that SalesLogix has in place as we move forward as well. Next slide, please. We really, aside from talking about our heritage and talking about mobility, this is really kind of the essence of where we're building software as we go forward. The 2 kind of pistons that we believe in is what we're calling the interaction management capabilities and the recommendation engine. And what that means is that, you know, we're taking everything that SwiftPage had with its marketing platform and its social platform, and we're not making it a plug-in to ACT or SalesLogix. We're making it part of the experience because every interaction matters. And so we have kind of a belief structure that sales and marketing are one, and that we shouldn't be talking about emails and tweets and calls. We should just be talking about improving each and every interaction. So how do you do that? On the back end of our software, we already have alerts and dashboards, and as we roll out products going forward, we're really going to take the analytics and turn it into a recommendation engine. So really, it ought to be about the software telling you what to do next. I mean, we think we've done a great job of making it 1, 2, or 3 clicks, but in the future, we want the software to tell you who to call, who to meet, who to tweet, and what to do next. We believe that when you do that, you will have a higher probability of getting more transactions. So the really kind of our elevator speech, if you will, is better interactions will lead to more transactions. And so we will do that through integrating more interaction capabilities, more types of ways to communicate and develop relationships, and a recommendation engine that really is referring what to do next. And in very small ways, Ed's going to kind of show examples of that from kind of marketing and who to call and what to do next in the demo in a moment's time. And as before I pass it over to Ed, you know, just the next slide is really kind of reestablishing that when we go to market, we look at us as just being kind of half the equation. It is our partners like Infinity that round out the kind of the 100%. While we have a responsibility to build great products and to do great marketing and to get attention, it is the way that our partners round out those products and deliver the marketing message locally or in vertical markets like we are today. But it is our partners that lead the sales efforts and lead the implementation efforts. We are 100% focused through and our channel, our partners, to go to market. So unlike some of the other players in the market that will decide when to work directly with a customer and when to use an implementation partner, SwiftPage is 100% dedicated to the Infinities of the world. We develop training curriculum, they deliver it. Their frontline for support, we augment it. But at the end of it, you know, that's really meant the big bubble to say, when we do this well, better interactions with our customers will lead to more transactions. Market better, sell more stuff is probably a simpler way to say it. So the last thing is that we are all in on mobile, and as the next slide indicates, but with both of our products, we're really focused on mobility, and we are learning and bringing features and capabilities from one to the other. ACT is really meant for personal productivity, and SalesLogix takes all the great benefits of ACT over 25 years and will continue to improve them, but it's really focused on businesses and interactions and the enterprise. And so I'll pass the baton to Ed, and he's going to walk you through some of those capabilities on our new Mobile 3.0 platform. Thanks. Over to you, Ed.
All right, so we actually did have one more slide in there before we were coming over to me, but that's all right. I'll pull up my demo screen and I'll actually just talk about it for a second. One of the things that we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about all the platforms that we actually do run on today, and we give you many opportunities to solve opportunity and getting at your data from many different platforms. So today we're focused on mobile, but for our entire lifespan, we've had the products that run on land-based products, so you can have it in-house. We also have our web-based solution, which runs directly from a browser, so you can access your CRM data anywhere, anytime, and that's one of the goals that we've done. We've brought this all together, and we've now put the cherry on top with an outstanding mobile offering. And with that, I'll just start talking about the mobile platform. So we heard a little bit about being purpose-driven, and the idea is to be able to get to the information you need on a quick, easy basis. And some of the things that we've learned over the years of growing this particular platform is, at times, less is more. We've gotten more efficient over the years at delivering quality information to the devices that you use, and what you're seeing on the screen right now is an iPad emulator, so I am running in an emulator. The demonstration is always much more compelling if I get a chance to do it in front of somebody on an actual iPad or a mobile device, but this would work. Our mobile platform works on iPads, iPhones, Android devices, tablet devices, so we're not limited to just iPhones and iPads, but our demonstration today is running on an iPad emulator. And the first thing that you see when you log into the system is very purpose-driven right out of the box. You jump into an area that's called called My Activities. And with My Activities, I can get a quick glance at what's going on in my inbox, if you will, for today or this week. You have opportunities that can be brought over to your device right away from campaigns. I can create campaigns and have them dropped over here in groups, meaning if I had a specific trade show that was going on today or this week and I needed to make sure I went out and touched all of my particular invitees, I could create a list right here, click on it, and I'd get those activities showing up right here to give me the quick view of what I needed to do today. Now, we try to give you an awful lot of information right away so you know what's going on. We've color-coded the meeting styles and what's going on. So I've got meetings in blue, I've got to-do items in orange, I've got phone calls in green, so I can get a quick glance on that and understand what the task at hand might happen to be. I also have lots of icons on the screen that give me a quick view of what's going on or what this particular item happens to be. So my alarm clock, I can see that on all of my events showing on the screen right now have alarms set for them. So since they're in my calendar, I'm going to get an alarm. This pointing finger right here tells me if I've touched an account in the last 7 days, and I can see I've been remiss in some of these guys. But down here, yep, I've talked to Abbott Ltd. About the demonstration that we're planning on doing for them. So I've reached out and touched them, and that will be reflected right here. So I can actually get a hot, cold, warm feel for some of the activities or accounts that I might need to pay attention to because I have or I have not touched base with them in the last 7 days. Of course, that's configurable, so you can make that 7 days, 1 hour, 2 weeks, whatever you determine you want that to be. But for me, it's just 7 days. I've got my exclamation point, so we're living the exclamation point anyway. But these are the urgent or important items that I have set up, and they show as such when the exclamation point is lit up. I've got reoccurring events, so I can see if an event is reoccurring. So none of my events right now are reoccurring. And then, of course, what type it is. It's a to-do item, a phone call, another to-do item, and a meeting. And from here, I can get to multiple portions of the environment, and I have quick action items that I can get to. So each item has its own functions that can go along with it. So if I'm sending a letter, I can complete this particular process, or I can actually jump directly over to the opportunity for this item and start to get detailed information about it. So I can see it's a scheduled activity. If I needed to add notes to it, I most certainly could. Click on the button, the pencil up top, and the keyboard for you guys on your iPad would pop up. I could start to add information to it, whether it be products or anything else that's in there. We also have the breadcrumb feature, so wherever I was before, I can hit the back arrow and jump right back to where I was, and I can continue on with the things that I was doing. So I don't have to go back to my activities and go find the letter that I was looking for. I can go forward and backwards and get right back to where I was. So I get purposely driven, get some tasks and features options done. Each item has different features and functionalities that goes along with it. So the phone calls are a little bit different than, say, the meeting options. Oops, and that one's hidden down there a little bit, so let's scroll down on my screen a little bit, right? So we change the colors, different things that become available to me. But once you get going and you get used to using your My Activities, you have features and flexibility that are offered on not only the LAN product but the web client as well that are offered here on the mobile platform as well. So we always have the ability to go over to my menu, and I could do speed search items, and anybody who's familiar with the LAN and the web client, speed searches basically gives you a Google-style result set returning information. So if I wanted to go find something about Abbott, I could type Abbott and it would go pull out all their Google-style information and give me the ability to start clicking down in there. But I also have calendar activities, right? And now we can start talking about features and functionalities that actually go along with your device and actually interact and integrate with your other products. So if you're using things like Outlook or you're using Google Mail and you don't want to have to keep calendars in multiple places, this stuff can be updated, pushed, and pulled from both areas or all of your calendars as you see or as you guys want to use it. So right now I'm looking at my today's view. I see I got three particular meetings that are going on right now. If I wanted to jump to my month view, I most certainly could. And from the month view, I get a little tag in the middle of each day that tells me how many opportunities that I have going on, and I can jump from day to day, and it'll go load this stuff up right away. The key here is when I do and complete activities on my mobile device, that stuff gets sent back to the primary servers, and that means it's updated and available for anybody else that comes in is using the system or has permission to use the system. So again, from the calendar, I can go look at, see, I've got a 2 o'clock appointment today. I can see where it's at. I can see maybe if there were more notes down here, I could see the things that I need to do or be prepared for that. And some of the other things that are available too, if I was using this on my iPhone or on my Android telephone, this option right here, the phone number, would become clickable. Right, meaning I could tap on that, it would make use of the device that I happen to be on, so it would make the phone call for me right away. Right, so I could actually reach out without having to pull out my dialer and then dial in 312-555-7855. It would dial the number for me. So making use of the features and functionalities that are actually on the device. So things like cameras. People use this all the time, and I do it specifically for things like tickets. If I'm looking at particular tickets and I need to take a picture of something, I can add pictures and attachments that would then be added to my library, right? So anybody who's used SalesLogix and ACT understands that we have a library that allows us to put documents and pictures and instructions and things like that to just give you the ability to attach to opportunities or to-do item lists, so I can put together an email that I might want to send out to a prospect. And if I had a document, and I think this one's probably not a document, and there we go, so that's not me, but thumbs up because we're doing good. I could attach this to an email and send it right out from my system, and this is included inside the library. So again, purpose-driven. I have the detail, I have the information that I need to work with right away. If I go look at leads, right? Leads is a standard place where I know that I'm starting to build opportunities. So from here, this might be where I need to touch, or I need to go out and create meetings or demonstrations. And I can see in here that I've got 188 leads, and that's one of the things that we've built into the mobile platform, the ability to have KPIs, so I can really start to see from a quick glance the things that are going on in my account. So I'm looking at total leads. I can turn that on and off, so if I don't want to see that. But I also see here that I have notes. I can click right down inside the notes, and again, if there's attachments here, I don't know if there's an attachment here, but there's not. Right? If there was an attachment, it would show up. So inside of the environment, I have the ability to look, change, update, and control everything about my particular lead or opportunity. When I get into my opportunities, these are the things that are actually actions that can be put on your forecast and be quoted. So we have reports built into the system that actually give you metrics, so you can see where your quota, where your pipeline happens to be. And this also has some KPIs that goes along with it, so I can see how many sales opportunities I have, this total sales potential. And let's go ahead and look at all my open opportunities. So I get a quick look at what my total sales potential might be. And if I drill down into this thing, some of the graphing or KPI capabilities built into the system give me options and opportunities to graph out. So give that visual gratification, if you will, of how things stand. So in the initial releases, we're kind of hanging with bar charts, but in future releases, we're already experimenting with pie charts and heat graphs, and we have partners that we work with that have helped us get pretty strong in the environment of visual delivery. And this is just one of the small spaces. So from within here, right, again, I can drill right into a particular contact. I can schedule activities. I can add notes to the particular contact or to the particular lead, with the idea here, again, everything that I put on my mobile platform gets saved and stored back out onto the server. So anybody else who has access via the LAN client or the web client can get to touch and use the information that I create from my mobile device. Now, one of the things that I did talk about again a little bit was if this was running on a mobile phone, you have access to things like automatic dialing. So if I clicked into John Abbott, I can call the mobile number right away. Again, with the email client, I could click right on it. It would use your local email client on your phone or on your device to send out an email, and that information again would be stored back inside of SalesLogix. So being purpose-driven, giving you the ability to be flexible and fast and customizable. That's one of the things we really haven't talked about, is the ability to customize how these screens look. I'm actually working with a prospect right now who wants to put their own reporting tools inside here. So we added them a menu item, and it calls right out to their reporting system and shows it right here on the mobile platform. They're pretty pleased with that. But being concise, clean, efficient, and giving you access to the data that you need or the data that you want to reach out and touch your campaigns, your customers, your accounts. And at times, I guess we have to communicate with our managers, right? Well, using the system properly allows them to dig in and have a look at what we're doing and help us out whenever we need to build my pipeline. So there's lots and lots of things in here we could start to dig into from an accounts perspective. We have KPIs that are deliverable on all of these things, so I can, again, drill in and see, get a quick snapshot view of what am I doing, or all of our accounts that happen to be out there. So 423 total accounts right now. They've been customers for a significant amount of time. And, of course, if every one of these prospects and accounts were to buy product from us, we're talking at 1.1 billion. So I'd be a really happy guy and spending an awful lot of time in Hawaii if we could reel all that stuff in. So as a 20,000-foot view of the mobile platform, we've done a great job. If anybody's had an opportunity to see what our 2.0 platform looks like compared to what our 3.0 platform looks like we've done a terrific job, and it's been because of feedback that we've gotten from customers who have been using the platform, as well as all of our business partners who are working with us to make sure that our mobile solution is one of the best out there. So with that, I'll pass the ball back over to whomever I'm supposed to be passing it to.
This is Tony again, so I'm going to grab the PowerPoint back. Or Matt, can you push that to me? Looks like it's not coming through. There we go. So I'll share my screen. And as Matt mentioned, if you have questions, feel free to type those into the chat as we go through. We did get one there, Ed, that I'll go ahead and jump in right now. It's just since it's in context to what you were showing. Folks, one of the questions that came in is, can you actually change the menus and the drop-downs on the system? So if you wouldn't mind just answering that real quick.
Okay, so what's the question again? I'm sorry.
The question is, can you alter the drop-downs? And I believe the content within the drop-downs was
right. So when I did the drop-down and I had open and active and things like that, the intent there is for you to be able to actually create your own groups. So something like a marketing campaign that you built. And I think I mentioned this, where I have a list of people that I need to invite or follow up with. I can create those. So the answer to your question is yes. You can change those groups, create your own groups, which is really what most people are intending and doing with it right now. Is I have my own specific groups. I set them up for a particular area code or zip code or city, state, region, whatever it might be. So I get a quick, succinct list of activities, opportunities, customers that I need. So you can change those and meet those needs if you create those groups that you need.
Great. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate that. So keep the questions coming. I know this is the slide we were supposed to show before the demo. I don't know if you want to cover it here at all, Ed, but this was kind of setting up kind of the various components of it. So if you want to make any comments on it. But.
Right. So as I was talking about, for a long time we've had multiple platforms that you can work with for SalesLogix and ACT, and we've just grown by adding, like I said, the cherry on top with the mobile client. So we have the land-based client, which is your traditional Windows application, if you will, so running on your Windows platform. Very strong, very robust in all of the features and functionality built into it. It's probably the deepest platform that we have. It's also the oldest platform that we have, so it's had a chance to mature over the years. And then the web client, which is browser-driven, so pick your browser, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari. We've done a great job of creating compatibility across all of those platforms. And in the newest releases we've done, I think we've cleaned up pretty much all issues that we were having in the past with browser compatibility, and it runs really, really well. And again, we've already talked about the mobile platform, and that just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
Great. Thanks, Ed. So appreciate that update. And I do know, just to make one comment here, as you guys know, Infinity does a lot of configuring and customizing for our clients. So I think sometimes the S-data interface inside SalesLogix is not fully appreciated. But our team loves it because it really makes getting the data out of the CRM system and exposing it into other areas very possible. So what Kevin was describing, this idea of being purpose-built, you can now very easily start to take SalesLogix data and expose it into other systems quite easily. So we don't have a lot of that in this demo today, but there's interest there. So that's something that we at Infinity can show you. The other thing I thought I'd do, just to kind of quickly overview kind of this all-in mobile strategy from SwiftPage, and again, we are completely in alignment with this at Infinity, is they've also, along with that, really done some pretty unique pricing for the market. In fact, they're the only CRM vendor that I know of that offers a mobile-only client. And so you are actually able to get SalesLogix Mobile if you're interested at $25 per user per month in a cloud environment, or around $400 per user. So it's really trying to make that entry point, that price point, very appealing for additional users or new users as you bring them in. So just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. There are a couple other promotions that SwiftBase has running right now, so if there's interest there, certainly feel free to reach out to any of us at Infinity. Would be happy to help answer that for you. So I think we're at the end, and so we're going to open things up for questions at this point. So let me see if I can open up the chat panel. We'll give it just a second for those to come in. Actually, Ed, I think this will be you, but one of the questions that just came through is, do I have to upgrade let's see if I can understand this. So I have to upgrade all the way to SalesLogix Web to actually use SalesLogix Mobile? Pretty sure that's what the question is.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting question, because what the mobile client uses is pretty much the same infrastructure that the web client uses, so it would almost be an answer meaning you probably want to anyway. So you don't have to update your web clients or update from the LAN to web specifically, but one of the things that we use is obviously a web server. That web server has to have access to the back-end repositories and databases, so your firewalls and all that stuff has to be set up. And if you're going to go through that effort, you might as well give web client access as well. That's one man's opinion.
Great. So thanks, Ed. I think that answered that one. If it didn't, for some reason, just let us know through the chat. But I think that was a really good description of it. Is we can, again, Infinity can help with this, as you can kind of stage into your upgrade, but certainly enable SalesLogix Mobile as kind of the first component of it. Looks like we have one more question.
Tony, Kevin, we'll supply kind of the version of SalesLogix that you can be on to where you can access the mobile platform. So we'll make sure that all versions that are eligible for Mobile 3.0, and we'll make sure you're able to send that out to this audience.
Great. So we'll post that out to everybody through we have our monthly newsletter, so it'll be a place to do it. Another question that just came in is, does mobile work offline? And if so, how does that work?
So that's a great question. So mobile does work offline, so it has a built-in mechanism, and I don't know if you saw it a couple of times. It was saying, I think it happened in the calendar and once in the opportunities where it said view more. Right, so we're pulling data down to the client, whether that be your iPhone or your iPad or whatever it happens to be. So we are pulling data down, and that's a limited scope at this point, so you have the ability to dial that up or dial it down. And one of the things that we've learned over the years is we used to just pile as much data as we could down to the handheld or mobile device, which would be slow at times. So if you were to go offline, any data that was pulled down prior, so everything that we scrolled through right now is on my mobile device and would be usable on that device, and the next time you connect it up to the network, that stuff would get synced automatically. We've got the built-in mechanisms on the device, on the mobile client as well as on the mobile platform to support local caching of data, but it's limited at this point.
Okay, great. So, and I think that answered that one, and the questions are coming in fast and furious now. So here's another one, a really good question. Are emails sent from the mobile client recorded to notes history?
On the mobile platform, and this is something that's really important to understand, because some people have recognized that the web client can be used on a portable or mobile device as well. So if you're using it using the mobile client on your mobile device, that information will be stored back into the SalesLogix environment. If you exit out, because you do have options as well to jump out of the mobile client and go right to your email client, it will not be recorded back. So that's a feature functionality that's getting stronger in later releases of the mobile platform.
Yeah, and it's true some of the devices are even some limited there too, right, in terms of capabilities. I know like the iPhone, you can't get into some of the email linking stuff. So just the ability that it does attach to notes history if you stay in the client is a pretty strong capability. Another question that came in is, when you email, can you attach documents from the library?
If you're preparing and setting an email, I don't think I've ever tried that myself, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say you can, because the library is available, especially if it's been cached down locally. But that's, if we can get a name and address, whoever asked that question, let's double check on that.
I've got that for you, so we'll definitely, that's a great question, so we'll follow up on that, and I'll go test myself on my Mobile 3 environment after this, so it's a great question.
I can't say I've ever tried that myself yet.
Yeah, so we'll respond back, put a note up on that when we post the webinar, and make sure and send that out to those asking. Here's another one. Will SalesLogix Mobile work with SalesLogix 7.54? So a version-specific question.
So 754 does have web client capability, and it actually does have portal access, which means it has the infrastructure to support the mobile client. So I've done it for one particular client already, and it does work.
Great. So it sounds like the answer on that's yes, but probably some caveats that we'd want to review specific environments for doing that. So I think there was another question that came in. Let me hold on for just a second. Looks like we got a repeat on the offline question, so we already answered that one. Let me just go through. So we'll hold for just a minute for a few more questions to come in. Oh, here's one that just came in. And I think what the question is asking is how do you how do you customize SalesLogix Mobile? So that's probably a big question, but I don't know if you want to at least maybe give a kind of a high-level review of that.
Well, one of the things that we've done in our mobile platform is it actually lives out on GitHub, so you can go out and get to the source yourself and make modifications to it. So once you have your own mobile implementation, you have access to pretty much all of the source code minus the secret sauce that is in some of the areas, but menuing, look and feel, things like that, you can actually go modify that to your heart's content and then roll that out onto your own mobile platform. The mobile environment itself is pretty flexible. It's done very well with HTML5. There's a little scripting behind the scenes, but pretty straightforward. So it's open and available.
Yeah, and what we can do this, just speaking. There's some, as Ed was saying, this is really out in the public, and there's some really good tutorials on the way you customize for SalesLogix Mobile. It is a little bit different than SalesLogix LAN, like in the past, so we can point everybody to some of those documents that explain it, but it is very well thought out. Here's one, Kevin. I suspect this is actually for you. Question kind of related to the interaction component you were talking about. It looks like a question around more around the e-marketing. So it's not really related to SalesLogix Mobile, but there's a question on whether e-marketing is still a part of the overall SalesLogix suite.
Yeah. So first off, it is that it was labeled in current versions as either SwiftPage or Sage SalesLogix e-marketing. Okay, so there's a bit of a rebranding effort coming just to make sure that it is the embedded e-marketing, which is the product that SwiftPage brought to the SalesLogix platform. Now, that's what's called 1.0, and that's in the product today. We are releasing an update to that gives a lot more power towards template editing, image editing, the ability to manage and distribute groups and call lists. And so there are significant improvements coming in the 2.0 release that'll be right in the new year for the SalesLogix customers. So the other element of that is we don't look at that as an add-on or plug-in per se. When we bring out the update to this, it's front and center because CRM needs to have the ability to do more interactions and better marketing. So the real estate and the feature functionality will improve come January. We also recognize that there are customers that need more. And so whether or not it's Sales Fusion, Marketo, or Eloqua, it's our partners like Infinity that do a magnificent job integrating other best-in-class marketing platforms with SalesLogix. And I'm doing that internally for our internal needs. So we're kind of covering all ends of the spectrum there, Tony, not only making sure we've got real core good marketing components in the product for smaller companies or individual users, but that we're also integrating with enterprise e-marketing platforms as well.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I think that answered the question, so appreciate that. And if I'm understanding correctly, what you're saying, though, is really the e-marketing is going to be built in, and just like mobile, that's just part of the core set of SalesLogix, so you get all that functionality, if I'm understanding correctly.
Right, and when you license, the SalesLogix stack, you get that. So the only incremental piece would be, additional emails that you buy and send, or customizations to it. So it's all in the stack.
And actually, question related to that on customization, and I suspect this is you. It's asking, I believe it's around mobile, but is there any area in mobile that you can think of that can't be modified, that's kind of locked down, I believe is what the question is.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that can't be modified, but without going completely through, and I haven't been through all aspects of the mobile client. There might be some stuff out there, but from what I know right now, you can pretty much control the mobile client 100%.
And Ed, just to kind of to illustrate that point, is the AgriLion implementation is built upon SalesLogix Mobile, but when you get into it, I mean, the GUI is lots of pictures, lots of help files, videos to help a mobile sales professional in a farm. So our partners have done some magnificent job with the infrastructure, the architecture, and really the sky's the limit on what you want it to look like.
Great. Well, thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Ed. I think that is the end of the questions, and we're almost exactly at 45 minutes. So we'll hold on for just a minute more to see if there's any more questions, and then we'll do a quick wrap-up. Yeah, it looks like that's it. So let me scroll forward. So I just wanted to just real quickly talk about next steps. And so again, thank you for all the questions. But if you wanted a personalized review of the SalesLogix Mobile or even the e-marketing or any of the components, don't hesitate to contact your Infinity account manager. And we just have a generic email if you'd like, sales@infinityinfo.com. We'll make sure and respond up on that. And then certainly we want to encourage everybody to really think about leveraging mobile users. As you saw in the first chart, it's really what users are wanting. They want to have that capability, those purpose-driven needs available on their mobile devices. And so we certainly would strongly encourage everybody to think about leveraging that. And if you'd like advice or feedback on the way other firms are doing it, Kevin shared Harry Rosen and AgriLion. Certainly Infinity would be happy to share others in terms of what we're seeing. There's some really creative things being done to really highly enable mobile users. Also, as you can probably tell, a lot of investment coming from SwiftPage in terms of product updates and releases. We have another webinar on SalesLogix 8.1, which is now all of the other components of SalesLogix, so really the web and the LAN client, and some great updates that they've got coming there. We're going to be going through that on Tuesday, November 12th, so a lot more information coming there, and you can register for that webinar already. And so with that, I just wanted to thank everybody from the SwiftPage team and everybody here that attended. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, we are recording this webinar too, so we'll post that out for everybody that wants to review it or forward it on. And again, just want to thank everybody for taking their time today to walk through this webinar with us on SalesLogix Mobile. Thanks, everyone.